Hello, I'm Marissa, Eat This Not That's social media director, and we are about to go live with a member of our medical expert board here, Amy Shapiro. Amy is the founder and director of Real Nutrition. It's a New York City-based private practice dedicated to healthy eating and successfully guiding clients to their optimal nutrition, weight, and overall wellness. And today she is going to be answering questions all about preparing for a healthy summer. So we did receive these questions previously from you, our Facebook followers, and today she is going to be answering all of them. Thank you so much for joining us.
Um, yeah, I mean, I just want to say, now is a super busy time for me because everybody starts to feel oh my God, the warm weather's here. I'm taking off some extra layers of my, that I've been comfortably underneath all winter and, ready to kind of show some skin and get out there, feel more energized and be active. So it's a really great time for transition.
Fabulous. It certainly is. So let's jump in. First question we got is that I want to detox and prepare for warmer weather, but any recommendations?
So you want to make sure it's healthy?
Healthy one, yes, this detox.
So I always like to first say that our bodies are built to naturally detoxify themselves. So any claim of like a quick detox is really something that's just going to be supporting your liver, your skin, and your kidneys, because those are our three detoxifying organs. So when you are looking at a detox program, what you want to look for, first of all, is that they're not selling you any packaged items like bars or, shakes that are promising you anything. So what you want to look for is whole foods that are high in fiber, rich in plants, right? Because plants have fiber and water and antioxidants and vitamins and minerals. And then you want to make sure that everything is just clean ingredients. So you want to be eating lean proteins. If it is a plant-based cleanse, and you want to make sure there are plant-based proteins so you're not craving anything. And you want to avoid juices because juices just spike your blood sugar and make them crash. So an all juice detox is actually a blood sugar spike crash journey that you want to avoid. So my recommendation is whole foods, make sure there's fiber, make sure there's protein, and make sure you are drinking a lot of water. So because that's going to help to flush out those organs that help to detoxify you. And I would say to take a break from any alcohol, from any sugar that you've been maybe eating over the winter, white starchy carbohydrates, like those comfort foods, take a break from those things. And overall, that should be your detox.
Fantastic. Love it. Next, someone asked suggestions for alternatives to the tasty, cold, alcoholic mixed drinks that are so tempting in the summer.
So one, I would say moderation is key here. So if you are having one, I always say have one and then have water in between. The other thing that you can do is I recommend that my clients, if they're trying to take a break from alcohol, is to have a club soda with maybe a splash of juice in there, or a club soda with a piece of fruit as a garnish. You can do that when other people are drinking. You can do that, when you're just eating lunch and you would otherwise have a glass of rosé. So club soda is something that most restaurants have. Sparkling water, ask for that lemon or lime on the side. It'll be very refreshing. Unsweetened iced tea is also a great alternative. And I would then say, if you are going to participate in drinking those delicious beverages, to make sure that it's a time when you really want it as opposed to just because it's there. So taking a minute to kind of check the pulse of the situation. Do I really want this now? Am I just doing it because everybody's doing it? Is this going to give me the result that I'm looking for, or will it just make me tired and cranky later? And finally, I would say, look at your week. How many times are you going to be facing an excursion or a moment like this? And if you know that there are 4 moments like that in a week, pick 2 where you might have drinks and then 2 where you might have club soda or seltzer. So those are some of my recommendations.
Love that. Next asked, I find that I lose my appetite in the summer.
Yes, so a lot of people do feel that way because it's hot and it's humid, depending on where you are. And a lot of times that kind of heat oppression really does make you nauseous, or you just kind of feel, there's nothing that's going to nothing that you want to consume. So What I usually recommend there is one, listen to your body, make sure you're still hydrating because sometimes you feel that way when you're dehydrated. So you always want to make sure you're hydrating and incorporating electrolytes. So when you are very hot and you're sweating a lot, just drinking water can actually flush out your electrolytes. So to make sure that you're consuming electrolytes at least once a day. If you want to do that on your own, you can do a pinch of sea salt with some fresh lemon and water in the morning, or you can get a very clean version of an electrolyte powder to mix in, but to make sure you're doing that. And then to eat refreshing food. So every meal doesn't have to be perfect. If you're not hungry, you're not going to force yourself to eat, a turkey burger or to eat, salmon. Maybe you want to make yourself a smoothie because it's cold and it feels good going down, and you can add protein to that, and you can add flax or psyllium husks to give you that fiber with fresh vegetables and fresh fruit. Or maybe look at foods that you don't have to turn your oven on for. Maybe canned tuna, canned salmon, make hard-boiled eggs in the beginning of the week. So there's so many things, but it's okay to eat lighter if you're listening to your body. You just want to make sure that you don't let yourself get to a point where you are dehydrated, maybe possibly have heat stroke, or feel fatigued. So put yourself into some air conditioning. Greek yogurt is a really good, nice cold option. Also, there's some gazpacho. There's a lot of alternatives, but maybe small, frequent meals instead of 3 large meals might be what works for you at that moment.
Awesome. You mentioned so many options. I'm going to skip to one related question. I did just touch upon this a bit, but someone said, I hate oven on and heating up the house in the summer. What meals do you eat besides just salad?
Right. So yeah, salad is definitely a go-to because you could just chop up those vegetables. But other things that you can enhance your salad with would be, tinned fish is having a true moment right now. It is all the rage and super healthy for you. If you don't like sardines, there's canned trout, there's salmon, there's tuna. So there's a lot of varieties there. You can do beans, open up a can of beans, rinse it out, put a little salad dressing on it, pop that on top of some greens. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese also having a moment. Throw some fresh berries and almonds or walnuts, whatever nut of choice, some cereal, make your own parfait. So those are some things that might seem like a lunch meal, but really you can eat that anytime. Smoothies are great. During the summer, a lot of my clients will eat smoothie bowls for dinner because it's easy, it's cold, they don't have to do much, and it's a one dish cleanup, the blender. And then I would also say, don't forget about using your Instant Pot or your slow cooker because they don't heat up your whole kitchen or apartment. They just heat up that vessel, and you can even do the cooking when you're not at home. So that might be something where you can do meal prep. So you can cook a lot of chicken breast or fish or turkey breast in that slow cooker, and then it can be cold in the fridge for you to make a sandwich with. You can also do in the Instant Pot, you can make hard-boiled eggs. You can make so many things that are meal prep. So those would be things I would say without the oven that are not necessarily salads, that could come in handy.
Yes. Okay. Asked what fruits and veggies are in season, and does being in season mean that they're more nutritious or just easier?
So when something's in season, it means that it is grown locally closer to where you live. And the reason why that is going to be more nutritious is going to be the plant is traveling for less time to you from when it was harvested. So as soon as we're plucking it or pulling it out of the ground, the nutrients start to kind of disintegrate as they travel. So if you're getting an apple from Washington, D.C., but you live in California, by the time it comes to you, it's not that the apple is bad for you. It's just not as nutrient dense and fresh as when it was picked if you're eating it right off the, out of the orchard. So it's not that it's, so yes, the nutrients are a little bit more intense, and the flavors are just naturally sweet because it's growing where you are in an environment that is giving it exactly what it needs to be, this ripe, delicious, bursting piece of fruit or really fresh vegetables. So that is that. There's nothing wrong with frozen fruits and vegetables, which is what I lean on during the summer, during the winter in New York, because our berries here are obviously not, local. So I always have organic frozen fruit, berries in my freezer so I can make smoothies that taste great, because when you freeze a fruit, it is flash frozen in that moment, so all of the nutrients are retained. So that is just about, the locality of something. And then there are certain ingredients that are seasonal that you get excited about, like ramps. Ramps are in season right now for like a month and then they're gone. So it's really exciting to get them because then you can enhance the foods that you're cooking with these local delicious flavors that you don't eat all year because they're just not as available. So that's one exciting thing about that. What's in season right now would be asparagus, radishes, leafy greens. Berries are starting, but they're not there yet because berries are more of a summer fruit, but tomatoes are starting, cucumbers, snap peas, all of those are coming now. The fruits are not just there yet because in the summer it becomes more the stone fruit season and the berry season. So you're kind of in transition. And if you walk through a New York City, I'm in New York City, that's why I'm saying this. But if you walk through a New York City farmer's market now, you'll still see apples, but people will often use them to make a applesauce or something because they are last year's apples. So they don't taste as delicious as they would in the fall.
That makes total sense. Okay, next, it's so hard to resist cream in the summer. What are the best healthy brands or?
Okay. So ice cream is definitely a popular one. And the first thing I'd like to say with all of my clients, no matter what their nutrition goals are, is ice cream, get what you want. Because when you get something that you think you should have, but you really want something else, you're just not going to hit that craving the same way. So my rule to my clients is get the smallest size. Often that is a kitty, which is not on the menu, but if you ask for it, they'll give it to you, or one scoop, because that's really enough. So I don't care if it's the most decadent flavor out there and you're like, this is not good for me. But if you're getting it portion controlled, then it is a win on both ends and you really satisfy that craving. For some brands, you know, everybody's in love with Van Leeuwen. It's really good and it's available everywhere. I usually recommend things that aren't necessarily full-blown ice cream to my clients. So something like a Yasso bars or Good Pops tend to be really good options to keep at home. Most of my clients don't feel comfortable keeping ice cream pints at home because it's a little bit too tempting and too easy to go overboard. But ultimately, I'm going to recommend ice creams that don't have too much added sugar, that are using whole ingredients and ingredients that you can read. So, you know, milk, salt, vanilla, chocolate, those kind of things. But if you start getting into carrageenan and sweeteners you can't read and all of those things, I say to avoid those. And I also like to mention here that you should avoid, or at least I recommend avoiding, the too good to be true ice creams, such as the Halo Tops or, you know, the Arctic Zeros, where you can eat the whole pint and they're marketing to you that you should eat the whole pint, because the practice of eating ice cream should never be eating the whole pint. The practice of eating ice cream should be, I really want ice cream. I'm going to eat the portion that I really love. It's going to make me feel really satisfied, and then move on. So those would be my tips on eating ice cream. And then I also say, if you want to eat, one of my rules, if you want to eat ice cream, you have to go out and get it. Today's day and age where you're getting like a DoorDash, you can get everything delivered. Many of my clients have gotten frozen yogurt delivered. So I'm always saying, put on some clothes and go take a walk and get the ice cream. And then I don't care how often you get it, but if you're getting it delivered or you're keeping it in your freezer, it's just making that too easy. So if you put a little effort in, then you're going to think, do I really want the ice cream? No, I don't really want it. Pass. But if you're like, oh man, I just can't get rid of this craving for ice cream, then you're going to go get it. And that means you really, really want it. So that's just one of the little tips I'd like to share.
I love that. Okay. Do you have any advice for staying healthy while traveling without prescribing?
Yeah, so a lot of individuals travel over the summer, and what I like to say is, one, know where you're going and what's on your path. So if you're driving or if you're in an airport, you should always know what you can eat there or on the way, so you're never caught off guard. And now at any truck stop, bus station, there are things like hard-boiled eggs, bagged pickles, hummus with pretzels, Greek yogurt is everywhere. You can always find something. There's always a Starbucks where you can get egg bites, or, you know, a feta spinach egg sandwich. You can get a latte that makes you feel good. They also sell yogurts and Kind bars and things that you can get there. So know things that are available on your journey. If you're going to fast food and it's only fast food, look at the menu before you go so you can make your best decision. But also don't be afraid to pack your own snacks. So all of my clients travel with a healthy snack pack that contains things that agree with them. So a lot of, you know, nut packs, maybe some jerky, maybe some edamame snacks, maybe fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, a cooler. Don't be afraid to bring things with you, and never just depend on, I'll find something. So even if you have snacks on your person, you know, if you don't eat them, most of them, like a good, healthy, clean bar, energy bar, those won't go bad. So that's just there in case you need them. But fresh fruit, like an orange that has its own, packaging, is great to kind of bring with you too. And you can get these all through security, and you can find many of them. So I would just say when you're packing things to bring with you, make sure some of them have healthy fats, some of them have lean protein, like a jerky of sorts or a bar that has protein in it. Some of them have are whole foods. Cut up the vegetables that are in your fridge before you leave, put them in a Ziploc, bring any fruit that you have that's not going to go bad. And then on your journey, you can usually find a Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, hard-boiled eggs. Um, Plant-based versions are a little bit harder, but you can lean on something like edamame. But bring a few things and plan in advance. Don't leave anything up to chance, because then you'll get too hungry and likely make poor decisions along the way.
Wonderful. Now we've reached our last question, and it's also travel related.
All right.
One. They said, I always struggle to jump back into my good diet and exercise habits when I return from vacation.
Mm.
That for this summer, what can I do to prevent that?
Well, one thing I always say is to, before you leave, make sure that you have something stocked in your freezer, pantry, or fridge. So when you come back, there's no barrier to entry. So I love the freezer. I think the freezer is the new pantry. You can have frozen shrimp, you can have frozen salmon, you can have frozen chicken, you can have daily harvest frozen meals in there, you can have frozen vegetables, frozen fruit. So you can pretty much put together a meal without having to even go anywhere else besides your freezer. There's frozen grains that you can have, frozen cauliflower, pizza crust. There's so many things. So make sure that you have some things in your freezer so you can make a healthy meal no matter what. In your fridge, eggs can stay there, yogurts can stay there, tofu can stay there. So if you leave a few of those items in your fridge that you know are not going to expire while you're away, if it's a shorter trip, have them there. So there's one or two of them, again, ready for you to enjoy as soon as you get back. Have that pantry full with your high fiber cereal, with your favorite energy bars, with your protein powder. So again, there's something you can put together, because when you come back from vacation, you've probably indulged in pretty awesome, delicious meals. So it's kind of saying, I've eaten these amazing meals. So now when I come home, if I'm just eating like mediocre meals because it's the ingredients that I have on hand, it's not the worst thing until I get to the store and I can kind of get my hands on some better foods. But having those foods there just make that roll from vacation into real life a lot easier. And again, it doesn't have to be decadent. It just has to be available. The next thing about exercise is, give yourself a break. That transition, no one bakes in time after vacation for the adjustment back home, right? You probably got a ton of emails. You have to go food shopping. If you have kids, you've got to get them back to school. People aren't sleeping. There's so much to do. So if you give yourself a 3-day window, 3 days to get myself back on track, fantastic. But then have that plan. When you come back, are you using a Peloton app? Did you sign up for your classes? Did you read book with your trainer? Do you know what classes are being offered on your online program? There's so many things. But again, just like before you leave for vacation to pack that snack pack, you have to kind of plan maybe on your flight home or your drive home. When am I going to start my workouts? Let me schedule them. Let me give myself a grace period because, laundry, and then I'll just get back on track. But if you say, forget it, day one, I didn't do it, forget, I'll just wait the whole week, that's not going to work. So give yourself that grace period and then just get back on track.
I love that. So this has been so fantastic.
So good.
So many great tips. Thank you so much for joining us. Amy, please tell everyone where they can find and follow you for more great tips like this.
Fantastic. So I'm in New York City. My website is realnutritionnyc.com, and I'm most active on Instagram, which is simply at Real Nutrition. And then for those who are interested in a detox, I don't do any juice detoxes, but I am launching next week our Real Nutrition Real Reset, which is just a 5-day meal plan of easy whole food recipes that you can follow to just get yourself back into summer. So that's coming soon in my newsletter and on my social. So follow along for more details there.
Fantastic. I love that. Thank you so much again. It was such a pleasure. And I hope we can have you again for another Q&A soon.
Yeah, I loved it. Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.